American Family Radio. AFR, I'm John Riley. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I have a new co-host. He just doesn't know it yet. But I'm just gonna steal you, Dr. Emerson Eggerichs. And man, a lot of people, of course, know of your ministry, Love and Respect. You sold a little book called Love and Respect, and about 1.5 million copies of that little book sold all over. And you've got a worldwide ministry and travel all over this country just sharing this message of love and respect. But you're in Orlando, Florida. You're at the Marriage America Conference, and you're going to be speaking tomorrow, right? I
am, yes. And we're excited about being here. All these folks gathered to focus on marriage and how to help couples.
Oh, great. Well, this little book that you wrote called Love and Respect, very interesting title. Tell our listeners, for those who don't know what that is all about, you got a little concept going on. It has to do with love and respect, right?
Yes, and I pastored one church for nearly 20 years and had the privilege of studying the Bible for 30 hours a week. I also have my PhD in family studies, and so I had the privilege of kind of looking both at Scripture as well as the social sciences. And I saw a verse in the greatest treatise in the New Testament on marriage called Ephesians 5, and the summary verse is verse 33. It's kind of like, this is God's last word, we might say, to the church on marriage. It's a powerful summary statement to husbands and wives, and it says that a husband must love his wife, and a wife must respect her husband. Love and respect, that's where the expression comes from. What's also interesting, the University of Washington studied 2,000 couples for nearly 20 years, and they concluded we now know the two key ingredients for successful marriages, love and respect. I was blown away by that, God said that 2,000 years ago in His Word. And what they also found is that there is a gender difference. We all need love and respect equally. It's very important that everybody hear me. We all need love and respect equally. But for instance, the University of Washington found that during marital conflict, 85% of those who stonewall, who withdraw, are males, whereas women move toward the husband. But they found that she moves toward him at a certain point and is critical and complaining. He withdraws and stonewalls, and this thing becomes interesting. She interprets his withdrawal and stonewalling as an act of hostility. That's how they described it, as an act of hostility. And women who are complaining and criticizing, at a certain point, men hear ongoing criticism as contempt for who they are. So suddenly, you see, hostility is the lack of love. That's how she was feeling. And contempt is the lack of respect. That's how he was feeling. And John, since then, we've asked 7,000 people this question ourselves, because I wanted to tease that out. We've asked this question of 7,000 people. When you're in a conflict with your spouse or significant other, do you feel unloved at that moment or disrespected? John, 83% of the men said they feel disrespected. 72% of the women say they feel unloved. That's as different as night is from day. If you start at 0 and go to the left and right, I mean, the difference here is absolutely mind-boggling. And here's what we've discovered. Although we all need love and respect equally, during conflict, men filter it through a blue grid. They see the conflict differently. They don't feel unloved. They feel disrespected. And even though women need respect during conflict, if you keep showing her disrespect, she'll say, how can you treat me disrespectfully and say that you love me? Ooh. She lands on love. And thus, as I got into this, I saw a love and respect correlation, that when a wife feels unloved, she tends to react in a way that feels disrespectful to her husband. And when a husband feels disrespected, he tends to react in a way that feels unloving to his wife. So here's what happens. She moves toward him to do the loving thing, only to be interpreted as disrespectful when she complains and criticizes. When he feels disrespected, he tries to do the honorable thing by withdrawing and calming himself down, which is what you and I do as men in order to de-escalate what could be a very, painful conflict, only to be labeled as unloving. So she tries to do the loving thing and is interpreted as disrespectful. He tries to do the respectful thing and is interpreted as unloving, and it gets crazy. Without love, she reacts without respect. Without respect, he reacts without love. Without love, she reacts without respect. And this thing spins. You see how it works?
Crazy cycle.
That's exactly right. And I always ask the question, when you're in a conflict with your spouse or significant other, and have you ever had a conflict when suddenly the issue doesn't seem to be the issue, and you see the spirit of that person deflate or erupt? You probably have entered the crazy cycle. And she is feeling unloved, right or wrong, and he's feeling disrespected, right or wrong. Now, no one really debates a woman's need for love, but where the debate comes is a woman showing respect to a man. And women have said to me, Dr. Emerson, I have to be honest with you, I don't feel any respect for him, and it'd be hypocritical for me to show it if I don't feel it. He's certainly not superior to me. I'm not inferior to him. He hasn't earned it. He doesn't deserve it. This is really about feeding his narcissism or giving him license to do what he wants. I really secretly think you want us to return to patriarchy and, kind of me as a woman fear male dominance and subject myself to emotional abuse and kind of worship him and put on pom-poms and a cheerleading outfit and just, sing the guy's praises. But I'm telling you, this is unbelievable. But apart from those things, I'm really open to hearing what you have to say about this.
Wow.
And John, that's where women are, and they're not mean-spirited. They're not evil-willed. They really do feel that way. And I always ask women, how many of you have sons? And in our conferences, they'll raise their hands. And I said, that's going to be the attitude your sweet daughter-in-law has toward your precious baby boy. And she's not going to be mean-spirited. She's not going to have a mean bone in her body. But she's been given license in the church and license in the culture to go through what I just did, that mantra, and your son is going to just shut down. He's going to withdraw. God did not design men to be intimate with someone who they feel has contempt for who they are as a human being. No husband feels fond feelings of love and affection in his heart toward a wife he thinks despises who he is as a human being. When a woman says, I love you, but I don't like you, that is huge. That's the same thing as a man saying, I respect you, woman. I respect you more than anybody, but let's get it straight. I never have loved you. And women would be devastated by that and would take them forever to get over it. And men are also devastated, but they don't break down and cry. They go off by themselves, which reinforces again to a woman that he's unloving. And so we have a huge misunderstanding out there. And what Sarah and I, and we've been married since 1973, are seeking to do is to help couples realize they're good-willed people. She's not trying to be disrespectful. He's not trying to be unloving. If a burglar came into the house, he would have and tried to kill her, he'd die in his attempt to save his wife's life. There is not evil will, but there is this huge misunderstanding because people don't know how to decode that crazy cycle. And here's what happens, John. Without love, defensively, she reacts offensively without respect. And without respect, defensively, he reacts offensively without love. So what happens, she knows she's insecure and defensively reacting, and she expects him to decode it. But what she doesn't realize is that she's offending him. And so, too, a husband defensively reacts. He's insecure. He shuts down. But he doesn't realize when he does that how offensive that is. So what we're helping couples realize is that they did not marry Hitler's distant cousin. And they are married to a person of basic goodwill, though they're a sinner. And they're not trying to, to be unloving or disrespectful, but in all probability are feeling unloved and disrespected, and they expect the other to figure that out.
Oh, man. Listen, those are good words. We've got to run here, Dr. Emerson, but I sure appreciate, I want to point people to your website, loveandrespect.com, loveandrespect.com. You can go there and get some more information. You got conferences all over the country. Man, God bless you. Thank you so much for your ministry, and man, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, John.
All right. God bless you, brother.
You too.